Welcome to What the Web Says. Today we are cranking up the volume and taking a trip back to 1985.
Oh, yeah.
For a deep dive into Live Aid.
Nice.
This iconic concert that brought together so many of music's biggest names for a cause that shook the world. The Ethiopian famine.
It's a good one.
We've got excerpts from the Wikipedia article and a louder piece that really focuses on Queen's legendary performance.
Awesome.
So get ready for some fascinating behind-the-scenes stories, unforgettable moments.
Yeah. You know, it's easy to forget just how powerful that moment in time was.
Right.
We're talking about a concert that was watched by almost half of the world's population.
Really?
Nearly 2 billion people.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't just about the music. Live Aid was a pivotal moment in global awareness, a demonstration of what's possible when people unite for a common cause.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit.
Sure.
A lot of our listeners weren't even born yet in 1985.
Right.
So before we even get to the music, paint a picture for us.
Yeah.
What was happening in Ethiopia that spurred this massive global response?
Well, the Ethiopian famine was a devastating humanitarian crisis that began in the early 1980s.
Okay.
It was a complex mix of factors, including drought, political instability,
Right.
and economic hardship.
Wow.
The situation was dire, with millions facing starvation and death.
Oh my God.
It was a crisis that demanded global attention.
And that's where a BBC report by Michael Burke comes in, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Burke's report, which aired in October 1984, was a turning point. It featured these truly harrowing images of starving children and families just struggling to survive.
Yeah.
One image in particular became a symbol of the crisis.
Okay.
A nurse named Claire Birchender forced to make impossible choices about which starving children would receive aid.
Wow, you're right. I remember seeing that photo.
Yeah.
It's heart-wrenching. No wonder people felt compelled to act.
Exactly. Burke's report had this raw, visceral impact. It brought the reality of the famine into people's living rooms and sparked this wave of compassion and a desire to help.
And that's kind of where the seeds of Live Aid were planted.
Yes.
Bob Geldof and Midge,
Yeah.
both musicians, were so moved by the report that they decided to do something.
Right.
They wrote, "Do They Know It's Christmas?"
Yep.
and brought together a super group of UK and Irish artists to record it.
That was the start.
And that's where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that Geldof single-handedly came up with the idea for Live Aid,
Right.
but it actually came from Boy George of Culture Club.
Of Culture Club.
Florida.
He suggested a benefit concert to Geldof, who then took that idea and ran with it.
So Geldof essentially becomes the driving force, the mastermind behind turning this concert idea into this transatlantic event.
He was relentless.
Wow.
He had this grand vision of a simultaneous concert in London and Philadelphia,
Okay.
broadcast live across the globe to maximize reach and impact.
Can you imagine the logistics of pulling that off in 1985? No internet, no social media to coordinate things. This was pre-email even.
It was a monumental task.
Oh my gosh.
And to add to the challenge, they only had a few months to pull it all together.
What?
Harvey Goldsmith took charge of organizing the Wembley Stadium leg,
Okay.
while legendary promoter Bill Graham handled the Philadelphia concert.
Okay.
And to recruit artists, Geldof employed this brilliant tactic.
What did he do?
He would essentially bluff and tell each act that a bunch of other big names were already on board, even if they weren't.
That's hilarious. I guess when it's for a good cause, all's fair in rock and roll, right?
Exactly.
But seriously, how do they manage the technical side of things?
Right.
Broadcasting live across 2 continents in 1985 had to be groundbreaking.
It really was.
Yeah.
We're talking about one of the largest satellite link-ups and television broadcasts ever attempted.
Wow.
Think about it, coordinating multiple stages, cameras, audio feeds,
Yeah.
all in real time across the Atlantic.
That's nuts.
It was a massive feat of engineering and coordination.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And the whole world was watching.
Everyone.
Speaking of which, the atmosphere at Wembley must have been absolutely electric.
Oh,
I mean, they even had royalty in the audience.
they did.
Princess Diana and Prince Charles.
The energy was palpable.
Wow.
Everyone, from the artists to the audience to the crew, was united by this shared sense of purpose.
So let's talk about the music itself.
Yeah.
What were some of the most memorable performances from that day?
Yeah.
I know Queen's set at Live Aid is often hailed as one of the greatest live performances in rock history.
Queen's performance is the stuff of legend.
It is.
Freddie Mercury commanded that stage with such charisma and vocal power.
Yeah,
The crowd was completely captivated.
it's true.
There's that iconic moment during Radio Gaga where the entire stadium is clapping along in perfect unison with Freddie.
I get chills just thinking about it.
It was a masterclass in showmanship and musical brilliance.
You know, thinking about Queen's performance, I can't help but wonder if they realized at the time just how iconic that set would become.
Right.
It's interesting how a single performance can become so deeply ingrained in our collective memory.
Absolutely. It transcended the concert itself and became a defining moment in their career.
Totally.
It solidified Queen's legacy as one of the most dynamic and engaging live bands of all time.
For sure.
And Live Aid wasn't just a defining moment for Queen.
Oh, yeah.
It also launched other bands into superstardom. Take U2, for example.
Yeah, great example.
Their performance, especially their extended version of Bad, propelled them onto the global stage.
Oh, and there's that story about Bono jumping off the stage to save a fan from being crushed in the crowd.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, it really cemented their image as a band that connected with their fans on a deeply personal level.
Right. But even with all the seriousness of the cause,
Yeah.
Live Aid also had its lighter moments.
Okay.
Remember Phil Collins?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The man who played both concerts.
Yeah.
He flew on the Concorde from London to Philadelphia to pull that off.
Talk about dedication.
I know, right?
It was a logistical feat in itself, and it speaks to the global ambition of the entire event.
Absolutely.
This wasn't just a concert, it was a statement.
It's incredible. You know, behind all the music and the global spectacle, the driving force behind Live Aid was Bob Geldof's relentless passion for the cause.
Definitely.
He was determined to raise as much money as possible,
Yeah.
and he wasn't afraid to be blunt about it.
His passion was infectious,
Yeah.
and sometimes it spilled over in unexpected ways.
Okay.
Like that now famous F the address, let's get the numbers outburst during a BBC interview.
Oh, yeah. It might have been a bit shocking at the time,
Right,
but it definitely got people's attention.
for sure.
And who could forget that heart-wrenching CBC video showcasing starving children set to the car's drive?
Oh, man.
It was a stark reminder of why everyone was there.
And that video's inclusion was no accident. David Bowie actually rearranged his set list to make sure it got airtime.
Wow.
He understood the emotional power of that imagery and how it could spur donations.
That's amazing. I keep thinking about one question.
Yeah.
Could something like Live Aid ever happen again? I mean, could we replicate that kind of global unity and mobilization today?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
The world has changed so much since 1985.
Yeah.
The music industry is different, the media landscape is so fragmented, and we're constantly bombarded with information.
Right,
It makes you wonder if we could capture that same level of attention and focus.
right. Back then, Live Aid was this singular shared experience.
Yeah.
People all over the world gathered around their TVs, glued to the same broadcast. It was a true communal event.
Exactly. It was a moment in time when the world seemed to stop and pay attention to a single cause. But
Yeah.
today, everyone's consuming content in their own little bubbles, on their own time.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine recreating that sense of collective engagement.
But maybe it's not just about the medium, right?
Yeah.
Live Aid had this raw emotional urgency.
Yeah.
The images of starving children, the sheer scale of the crisis, it touched people on a visceral level.
You're absolutely right. It wasn't just a concert.
No. So are you saying we'd need a Geldof 2.0, a cause that resonates deeply, and maybe a healthy dose of nostalgia for the good old days of shared global experiences to pull off another Live Aid?
Those are definitely factors to consider, but I also think there's potential for something new. Something that leverages the interconnectedness of the internet to mobilize people in a different way.
Like a virtual Live Aid.
Maybe.
Artists from all over the world performing online with viewers donating through a global platform.
Exactly. Imagine a hybrid event,
Yeah.
blending live performances with online content, reaching audiences across multiple platforms and time zones. We could have artists performing from iconic locations around the world, sharing stories and connecting with viewers in real time.
Wow, that's a really compelling vision.
Yeah.
It could be a way to harness the power of technology to create a new kind of shared experience, one that's tailored to our modern interconnected world.
And think of the possibilities for fundraising.
Yeah.
We could have integrated donation platforms, real-time tracking of contributions, and interactive elements that engage viewers on a deeper level.
It's exciting to think about. Who knows, maybe someday we'll see a Live Aid 2.0 reimagined for the digital age. But for now, we can look back at the original Live Aid as a testament to the power of music, the generosity of people, and the possibility of collective action on a global scale.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming challenges, we have the capacity to come together and make a difference. Live Aid showed us that music can be more than just entertainment. It can be a force for good, a catalyst for change, and a beacon of hope.
Beautifully said. And for our listeners, we hope this deep dive into Live Aid has inspired you to learn more, check out those amazing performances, dig deeper into the stories of the artists involved, and explore the ongoing debate about the effectiveness of aid in Africa.
Remember, the legacy of Live Aid lives on, not just in the memories of those who witnessed it, but in the ongoing efforts to address global inequality and injustice.
And who knows, maybe you'll even be inspired to create the next Live Aid for a cause close to your heart. All right, everybody, happy hunting.
Good luck.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.